You feel it in your chest before you name it. A low hum of urgency, a flicker behind the eyes when another headline drops, another app update arrives, another friend launches the thing, the podcast, the course, the framework, the method. It doesn't matter what it is.
What matters is how quickly your attention pivots, not like a compass finding north, but like a leaf caught in a gust. You tell yourself you're staying agile, but agility without direction is just motion without meaning, and motion without meaning is exhaustion disguised as progress.
This isn't laziness, it's displacement. You've been gently, relentlessly unmoored, not by chaos, but by choice.
Every time you abandon last month's system for this week's algorithm, every time you trade depth for velocity, every time you measure your worth in followers instead of fidelity, you are not evolving. You are outsourcing your center.
Wandering without a path, blown in different directions by the winds of chance. Stoic critique. Time-lapse of a smartphone screen cycling through trending apps, news banners, notification pings, all blurred at the edges, sharp only where light catches the glass. That phrase, wandering without a path, wasn't written about TikTok.
It was carved into marble thought in the 2nd century CE, as Marcus Aurelius sat on the frozen banks of the Danube, commanding legions while writing Meditations. He wasn't warning against change, he was warning against surrendering agency to it.
Marcus Aurelius, 121 to 180 AD Stoicism. What he observed and what you feel now is the quiet erosion of locus, the slow transfer of authority from your inner compass to the external world's blinking, buzzing, ever-shifting surface. Your attention is not a resource to be optimized.
It is the ground on which your self is built. 68% of people report diminished satisfaction with a new purchase within 48 hours. That number isn't about consumerism. It's about identity.
When your sense of arrival depends on acquisition of tools, titles, trends, you build your life on sand that shifts faster than you can name it.
You believe you're choosing. But what if the real choice happened long before the decision to download, to invest, to pivot was even visible?
Consider this. In 2018, tech entrepreneur Maya Lin launched Aurelius, a 2.3M AR meditation startup, after seeing a viral TED Talk on neurospiritual interfaces. She'd spent 7 years building enterprise SaaS platforms. Solid, scalable, deeply understood. Then came the talk.
Then came the pitch deck. Then came the funding. Within 18 months, Aurelius had pivoted 3 times, burned through 92% of its runway, and dissolved its core insight buried under layers of rebranded UX flows and influencer partnerships. She didn't fail because she lacked vision.
She failed because her vision became contingent, dependent on what felt urgent, what looked validated, what promised proximity to cultural heat. Maya Lin, 2018-2020, from SaaS architect to AR meditation founder. This is not unique. It is structural.
Modern attention economies don't sell products. They sell permission slips. Permission to believe this moment matters more than the last. That this tool will finally unlock what the last one couldn't. That this trend contains the missing variable of your potential.
The permission slip economy, where novelty masquerades as necessity. And here's the quiet violence of it. Every time you accept that slip, you reinforce a neural pathway that equates movement with mastery, change with growth, and novelty with truth.
If your happiness depends on material possessions, specific career milestones, or the approval of others, you have essentially handed your serenity to the whims of something or someone else. Stoic research synthesis. That someone else isn't just influencers or algorithms.
It's the version of you who still believes strength looks like speed, and that stillness is surrender.
Let's pause. Let's unhook the word strength from its modern caricature. The clenched jaw, the packed calendar, the relentless output. Real strength has weight. Not volume, not velocity. Vector, direction, magnitude, and unwavering continuity. Think of the ancient oak. Not the bamboo that bends with every wind, but the oak whose roots descend deeper each year, drawing water from strata no surface storm can reach. Its growth is invisible for decades. Its power is not in how fast it rises, but in how immovably it holds.
Oak versus bamboo. One grows downward to hold, the other grows upward to sway. This is not romanticism. It's biology. Neuroscientist Dr. Time.
Lena Cho abandoned her NIH-funded Alzheimer's biomarker project in 2022, not because she lost interest, but because she realized her team was optimizing for publication velocity over diagnostic precision. She paused, rebuilt her lab's metrics around longitudinal fidelity, not citation counts.
3 years later, her team published the first non-invasive early detection protocol validated across 6 global cohorts. She didn't chase the shiny object. She redefined the light.
Lena Cho, 2022-2025, from biomarker researcher to diagnostic architect strength, is measured not in how many things you start, but in how few things you finish with integrity.
External validation, short-term motivation, rapid iteration, surface-level mastery, diminishing returns. The opposite is also true. Deep attention, delayed reward, structural integration, embodied skill, compounding resilience. This is why the Stoics didn't reject change. They rejected reactivity.
They train daily in prosoche, vigilant attention to what is truly up to you. Not the market, not the algorithm, not the applause. Just your assent, your action, your endurance. You cannot control the trend, but you can control whether you let it draft your character.
Here is what no productivity guru will tell you. The shiny object isn't seductive because it's useful. It's seductive because it flatters. It whispers, "You are special enough to master this before anyone else. Important enough to be first.
Smart enough to see what others miss. That whisper isn't inspiration. It's ego dressed in futurism. Every time you pivot to the next big thing, you are not expanding your capacity. You are contracting your identity into a smaller, more manageable shape. The shape of what's trending."
Because being known for what's current requires far less courage than being known for what's true.
The shiny object is the ego's favorite mirror, polished, shallow, and endlessly reflective. What if I'm already enough? Exactly as I am, doing exactly what I've committed to. In 2016, venture capitalist Arjun Mehta invested 4.2 M in Vox Labs, a voice AI startup he called the future of human-computer intimacy. He'd passed on 3 earlier AI ventures, Too narrow, he said.
Vox Labs felt expansive, visionary. By 2019, it had pivoted to wellness chatbots, then to corporate HR automation, then to NFT-based employee engagement tokens. Meta stepped away quietly in 2021. His final internal memo read, "We mistook velocity for vision." He didn't lose money.
He lost his North Star and replaced it with a dozen blinking satellites. Arjun Mehta, 2016-2021. From VC conviction to strategic drift, 73% of high-performing founders report their strongest decisions were made during periods of deliberate stillness, not acceleration. Stillness isn't passive.
It's the silence between notes where music becomes meaning, not absence, presence held.
You don't need to delete your phone. You don't need to renounce innovation. You don't need to become a Moncor, worse, a cynic. What you need is alignment. The Stoics never asked you to stop acting. They asked you to act from principle, not pressure.
To ask not what's next, but what is mine to do. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words not in a temple, but in a war tent, surrounded by plague, mutiny, and empire-sized uncertainty. His discipline wasn't born of comfort, it was forged in crisis.
And yet he refused to let crisis dictate his character. Marcus Aurelius, 121 to 180 AD, Stoicism. The obstacle is the way, Marcus Aurelius. That phrase isn't motivational, it's ontological.
It means the very thing you're trying to escape. The friction, the delay, the boredom, the repetition is the terrain where strength is built. Not the launch, the labor, not the trend, the tradition. Before you adopt the new tool, ask, does it serve your existing commitment, or does it replace it?
A trend reveals nothing about your path, unless you let it redefine your destination. Artists know this. Tariq Hassan spent 14 years mastering traditional Japanese sumi, grinding ink, folding paper, breathing with brushstroke, before launching his Canva for Zen digital toolkit.
He didn't abandon tradition, he translated it. His app succeeded not because it was novel, but because it was rooted. Tariq Hassan, 2008-2022. From Sumi apprentice to digital translator, depth is not the opposite of relevance. It is its foundation.
Let's name the hidden tax. It's not the money, not the time, not even the missed opportunities. It's the fracture of continuity, the slow, cumulative splintering of self-trust.
Every time you abandon a practice before it yields its deepest fruit, every time you swap mentors like playlists, every time you treat your values as preferences, you teach your nervous system one thing: nothing lasts, nothing holds.
Nothing is worth waiting for. That lesson doesn't stay in your business plan. It migrates to your relationships, your health, your sense of safety in your own skin. When you attach to outcomes instead of process, you train your heart to expect rupture. Not all endings are losses.
Some are necessary severances from what no longer serves your soul.
A 2023 MIT Sloan study found ventures led by founders scoring high on purpose orientation, measured by consistency of mission across 3+ product iterations. outperformed trend-aligned peers by 4.2x in long-term valuation and 3.8x in team retention. Not because they were smarter,
Because they were anchored. 4.2x higher long-term valuation for purpose-oriented ventures. Purpose isn't a statement on your website. It's the thread that stitches your choices into coherence, even when the world screams for fragmentation. Coherence is the quietest form of power.
You might think returning means going backward, deleting accounts, quitting platforms, rejecting technology. But return is not regression. It is reclamation. It is remembering that your attention is not public infrastructure. It is sacred architecture.
That your time is not currency to be traded for visibility, but the raw material of your becoming. That your strength was never in how much you could carry, but in how deeply you could stand. This is why the Stoics practiced negative visualization, not to induce fear, but to clarify desire.
To ask daily, if everything external vanished, my title, my tools, my audience, what remains unshaken? That unshaken thing is your vector, your root, your yes. Spend 10 minutes today not planning your next move, but listing 3 commitments you've kept for over 2 years. Then sit with them.
Not to improve them, to honor them. Loyalty to your own continuity is the most radical act of resistance in an age of infinite options. The unshaken core, not rigid, but resilient. Not static, but sovereign.
What if the thing you've been calling weakness, the restlessness, the doubt, the fatigue is not failure, but feedback? Feedback that you've been holding too loosely, that you've mistaken flexibility for faithfulness, that you've confused the map for the territory.
Strength isn't found in the next horizon. It's found in the ground beneath your feet. Ground you've walked long enough to know its contours, its cracks, its quiet, unflashy fertility. So, pause. Not forever. Just long enough to feel your breath. Long enough to notice what hasn't changed. Your hands.
Your heartbeat. Your capacity to choose right now. To close this tab, step outside, and watch the sky without naming a single cloud. That is not weakness. That is return. That is strength, unpolished, unbranded, unshared. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply remembering how to hold.
The shiny object will always gleam, but you are the light. If this resonated, subscribe not for more answers, but for deeper questions, because the most dangerous trap isn't chasing the shiny object. It's forgetting you are the source.